Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining in. Let's just wait for a few more minutes for everybody else to join in. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining in. Just requesting for your patience for 2 more minutes, and then we'll start. Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining in. We'll be starting the session shortly. Just requesting for your patience.
Hi everyone. Lovely to see you all today. And maybe we can start off with a session. I know that people are logging in. We do have our NGO partners here as well. And I just wanted to ask them to even just put their screens on, if they can put their videos on. So it would help us. Hi, Shishir. Lovely to see you. Hi, Snigdha.
Hi, thank you so much for inviting us. Thank you again.
Yes, lovely to see you all. Thank you. Am I missing anyone else? And we have Siam and Joanne who will also be here to just coordinate this session. Siam and Joanne, you all can put your videos on as well and say hi.
Yes, hi, everybody. Thanks for joining in.
Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining in.
Lovely. Thank you. We also have Akshay here from Bhumi. Akshay, if you would like to put your video on.
Hey, this is Sai from Bhumi. So I will be taking through the presentation.
Oh, okay. Wonderful. Hi, Sai.
Yeah.
Lovely to see you. And Sai, okay, yes, I can see you too. Wonderful. And then from Doctors for You.
Hello.
We have yes. Hi, Prakriti.
Hi. Hi, Dhaval. How are you?
Very well. Very well. Good to see you. If you do have access to your camera and you can put it on, that would be nice too.
Sure.
Lovely. Thank you so much. Lovely to see all of you all. And then from Ahmedabad University, we also have two students. And we do have Jignesh from Ahmedabad University as well. We have Manan Rathod. Manan, I think everyone can see you. And thank you for joining us. And Sridharshini is also here. Hi, Sridharshini. How are you?
Hi, sir. I'm good.
Lovely. Great. Lovely to see you both. Great. So let's start the session. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. Also, if Aryani is here, that would be lovely. Aryani, you could say hi to everyone. Okay, if we don't have Aryani when she joins in, she could be the one who would put her camera on, and you could meet her as well. So I'll start with the session. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us. It's lovely to have you all today. And the idea of this session was to talk about social impact. And so I'd say that you'll all received, the email, the invite to come and join, and really what it's about is really making an impact, for all of us, right, in the communities that we are surrounded with. And today we have an opportunity to host, the NGOs who are working towards that, and have you high school students understand what all you all can do, when it comes to social impact. So we have a power-packed session, guests here, and let me just run through a little bit about who University of Michigan India Alumni Association is, and tell you a bit more about the NGOs who have joined us, and the students who have joined us, and you'll have a sense of what they are also doing. Yeah. So brief introduction about me. I'm the president at University of Michigan India Alumni Association. My name is Dhaval Mehta, and I'm also the CEO at TCC, which is Tni Career Counseling. This is a collaboration, and I'll tell you shortly more about UMIAA and TCC. And then the next part of the agenda would be having Aryani talk about her experience, where she worked on social impact by starting something within the mental health care area. And then we'll have an introduction with the NGOs, the 4 NGOs that we have today: Bhumi, Project Mumbai, Doctors for You, and Miracle Foundation. And then we will have 2 students here talking to us. One is going to be Srini, and excuse me for that, but Sridharshini KV and Manan Rathod. And then the 5th part of the agenda would be to go through the registration process, understand the rules while you look at participating in this social impact project. So let's move on. Lovely. So I'm going to quickly tell you a bit about the University of Michigan India Alumni Association. And So we're an organization that was started in the year 2000 to nurture the network of University of Michigan alumni. It's more of a platform for social, professional, and academic exchange. And it represents the University of Michigan brand in India. For those of you who don't know University of Michigan, it's located out of Michigan State. It's got 19 different schools across business, engineering, medicine, literature, science, and arts. And we've got over 3,500 alumni in India itself, and many, many more over the world. So the campus itself is fairly huge, vast, and you can apply for both undergraduate, master's, PhD, courses in the US at Michigan, and also MBA. Now, just giving you a sense again, the idea of doing this project is that we at Michigan also believe that social impact is very important for communities. And so our idea was having a project, getting the NGO partners together to talk to you about the change that they've been making within our communities. So through this project, what we're going to do and we're going to try and achieve is make sure that you can participate in some of these things through volunteering activities, right? And build a project, something that's going to make a change for your community. So going to the next slide, I'm going to tell you briefly about Tni Career Counseling. So at Tni Career Counseling, we're an impact-focused certified global admissions advisory and test prep. It's a venture found by experienced and passionate individuals. We cover 12 plus countries, 1,200 global universities for undergraduate, masters, MBA, and the EMBA space. We have worked with over 1,000 students with a fairly high satisfaction rate and secured over $5.5 billion in scholarships. We cover the higher education guidance with a blend of mentorship expertise and technology with ML and AI. So moving to the next slide, I want to give you an introduction to the Social Impact Project and how does social impact help us, okay? So social impact has been making waves and changes in our lives, and let's understand a little bit more about what it means, right? So making a difference in the world is always important, no matter how small it might be, right? And this impact is so let me go through the 17 sort of social development goals that the United Nations had. So if you see that, and you'll see that on the slide, you'll see that having one which is to do with social entrepreneurship, nonprofit and social enterprise, human and civil rights, social impact and education, public sector and public policy, environmental sustainability, international development, corporate social impact, social impact consulting, social impact health, and impact investing. Now, of course, I'm not the person from the NGO organizations who can speak relatively well about each one of these areas, but I believe that we can make change in these areas, and many of them will tell you how. Okay, so that's what we're going to do as we move along. So let's get on to the next slide, so that I can give you maybe to start with now is give you an example of someone who is a high school student. She's completing her 12th grade. She's from the International School at Bangalore. She's currently been admitted to Columbia University, and she started a social impact with regards to mental health in grade 8. So I'd love for her to come and talk about her experience. And then I'd love to bring the NGO partners to come and talk about each one of the work that they've been doing, the areas they're covering, and the volunteering projects that they have available for the students. Thank you. Over to you, Aryani.
Yeah, thank you for having me today. It's an absolute pleasure to talk to all of you. So my name is Arini, and when I was in 8th grade, I co-founded a project called Let's Talk, which aims to spread mental health awareness and break the stigma around reaching out for support. So when I was in 8th grade, I noticed that a lot of my friends were going through things like symptoms of depression, suicidal thoughts, and self-harm. And every time, so we had a school counselor in my school, and every time I asked them to seek support, they just consistently refused because, they said they would be labeled like pagal, or people would judge them, or they wouldn't understand. And as you all must know, in India, we have like a really large stigma about not just talking about mental health, but talking about feelings in general. So that really hurt me, and I wanted to do something about it. And my friend and I, Kashish, both of us were interested in mental health. So we just decided, why not do something together? So that was the first stage, like really just identifying a problem that I felt passionately about.
Hello, can you hear me?
Okay, I think there was.
Don't worry. No, we muted them. Go ahead. All right.
Okay, so that was the first stage, like identifying something that I felt passionate about. And then next, we just wanted to implement the project, but we spent about 2 months, like over the summer, planning everything out. So we had like this elaborate plan. We went into all these details. We were like, we're going to make mental health professionals or school counselors come and speak to students in sessions, and then, students will talk. So we spent actually a lot of time planning. And then when we first did the session, we realized that our plans did not work because the students weren't talking, and the school counselor was making it kind of like a very lecture based session. So the students didn't want to interact. And we were like, okay, well, we did all of this, but it's not working. And it was actually quite disheartening at first. But then, we realized that we were able to implement an experiment, and we gained a lot from that. So we kind of pivoted the project, and we decided to create a peer-to-peer model where young volunteers, like you, like me, can go get trained from a mental health professional and actually conduct the sessions themselves. And then the sessions were really interactive. The students were speaking up. So that's one thing I want to tell you, that, you might have this idea of what would benefit someone, what a project should be like, and then you'll actually do it and it will change, and that's perfectly okay. I just think that's part of the growth process. And so then we had this model where over, like across Karnataka, kids were coming and doing sessions. And then once the pandemic hit, that had to stop. So again, that was another roadblock we faced. But then we decided to use the power of technology and go online. And I think the next step from there was organically trying to grow the project, right? Because right now we're in this very interesting time when so much of social impact is online. And, while at first it seemed like it kind of hinders connection, I actually think you're able to use technology to expand what you're doing. So what we did was we created this online chapter program where anyone can, take this project and start a local chapter in their community. So for example, you have like Let's Talk Vardhur, Let's Talk Delhi, Let's Talk Maharashtra, and young people across different countries started taking this up and starting it. So now we have about 35 chapters across India, Sri Lanka, and Nepal, and they're all, organizing campaigns. They're all doing their own work, and we're all like this big community and family that's just dedicated to supporting each other and furthering the cause of mental health. So that's been really amazing. And as of now, we've impacted around 20,000 students. We have 200 volunteers globally. So, as I'm saying this, I understand it might seem a bit intimidating, but I want you to remember that we started off as just 2 girls in one room with 20 students trying to get them to talk about mental health. So I think the most important thing is that you just start. It does seem intimidating at first, but it's so rewarding. Like doing this has literally changed my life. I've had a lot of cool opportunities, like getting to speak at the United Nations, getting to speak at the Women's Economic Forum. I recently spoke at the Graduate School of Education at the University of Pennsylvania. It's changed my life in so many ways. And now I'm actually looking at a career in social impact, beyond just what I did in high school, because I think it's so important and fundamental to any sector, like even if you want to go into the corporate world. So that's been my journey. And, I can vouch for this. Like it really changes your life in so many different ways. So I can't wait to hear about all the interesting projects that you guys do.
Thanks so much, Aryani. This is wonderful. Maybe a question, it begs the question of what motivated you? What led you to, starting this in the first place, and how did you sustain? You might want to unmute yourself. Yeah. Oh, can you, or you can't? Oh, you can't. Okay. Siam, can we help her unmute herself? Yeah, right there.
Voice is breaking.
Yeah, I think now I can. Yeah,
Okay.
thank you. So like I mentioned, a lot of the motivation was honestly just anger, because I felt like when it comes to physical health, if my friends had fever, they could go to the doctor. But like if they had depression, they couldn't. And I thought that was very outrageous. Like I was really young at the time and I just couldn't understand the stigma. And I think a lot of it was like a personal connection. So one thing I'd recommend is like when you're starting off in social impact, find something that you're passionate about. Like you mentioned, what sustained me. I think what sustained me was like my passion and my personal connection, because like for example, other issues I could have worked on is like the environment. And although that's an important issue, it's not something I have a very direct connection to. So I think what sustained me was when I faced a lot of rejections. Like at first, a lot of schools said no because I'm a 13-year-old going and asking to do a session, right? But like I think that ultimately everyone came around and I was able to persevere through it just because I felt really strongly about what I was doing. And I also had a very good support system. It really helps to lean on your friends, to lean on other young people who are trying to do this work, lean on your team members, lean on your parents and teachers. So I think it was those two things that helped me a lot.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Arani. And if anyone has any questions on this, please feel free. You can send a message to Siam, and he's the one who's going to control all the questions. So you can type them in the box and we can take them as we're moving along. So thank you again. Thanks, Ariani. And now over to the NGO partners so that they can talk about the work that each one of them are doing. We can start with Bhumi. So would you like to go ahead and maybe Siam, you can make them the co-host so that they can present and put the slide on. Thank you.
So this is Sai from Bhumi, and if I can able to present, I can start the conversation.
So I think that you made Akshay from Bhumi the co-host, but can you look for Sai and make him the co-host instead? That would be lovely. Great. Thank you.
Awesome. Yes, I can able to know. Is my screen visible? Can someone confirm, please?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, your screen is very visible. Please go ahead.
Yes, that's great. Okay, so hello everyone.
Hi.
Yeah.
Sorry, can you just go in presentation mode, please?
Just a minute. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, sir.
Hello everyone.
And Sai, if you can put your video on, that'll be great.
It was on. Can you see now?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll be starting. So hi everyone, good afternoon. So it's been wonderful to be part of this whole conversation and presenting the volunteering opportunities which we have to the the younger community over here. So Bhumi is a 16-year-old organization where we work with volunteers and help bridges the gap in education. So the important vision of Bhumi is to have a very equal and socially conscious society, and this we are doing in this past 16 years with the help of volunteers. Volunteers are the major part of Bhumi. So here we got opportunities for the volunteers who wanted to take it up any kind of opportunities in their own capacity. We have I'm trying to 1 second. Okay, so yeah, so here are the opportunities. So we before the pandemic we are mostly onto the on-ground volunteering opportunities, but after the pandemic the things got changed, so we also move on to the virtual volunteering opportunities. So I'll just go through the opportunities which we have in a brief, and I don't want to dig very deeper. I know there's a time constraint. So what you can do is like here we give it as a menu. When you go to a hotel, you have a menu, right? And you can select whatever you want. So here, Bhumi, we have a menu in front of you. If you have 2 hours in a week, you can take up any of the opportunities which interest you. You have 5 hours, you can take it up. Even if you have a month or 60 days, there is opportunity for you. So you can select opportunities based on the capacity and the time frame and other restrictions you have, but there are opportunities for everyone, right? So to start with, what you can do. So right now we are in social media like WhatsApp, Facebook, and
So Sai,
Insta. Yeah.
if I can just break this down, and maybe it
Mhm.
might be helpful to understand this is, can you tell them about what a brief about Bhumi that that tells them a bit about what you all have been doing, and then
Mhm.
how pertinent these volunteering activities would be. So maybe that's a great start.
Okay, yeah. So brief about Bhumi is like we are a volunteering organization where we work with shelter homes and communities. We are into education. We also do into various other fields like the environment and healthcare, but mostly we concentrate on education. So here in Bhumi, we work with children in the shelter home. We teach them basic maths, science, and also we teach them life skills, computers. So we try to bridge the gap which they have when they go and compete in the outer world. So so the opportunities all for the volunteers is to work with the children, and there are opportunities where if you want to be into environment, we have a project on that, but most of the projects are working with the kids, right? So we have live
Wonderful. And
yeah,
how old would these kids be? What is the age group?
so they'll be from the school, like from third standard, and we have kids till eighth, ninth grade. So there's a array of they spread in the spectrum of third grade to ninth grade, and we also work with the college kids in few other programs.
Wonderful. So you have a fellowship or a fellow network which kind of helps them and teaches them. Is that what I understand?
Yeah, we do have a we train volunteers to go there and teach them, and the volunteers will undergo the trainings on many things where they can go and deliver the program to the
Wonderful.
kids.
Wonderful. And so
Yeah.
for this virtual volunteering that students can help. So you've presented that one is could be an influencer. Second is
Mhm.
a content creation for awareness. Also, is there something where and then you've written sensitization and DIY activities. What is DIY activities and what is this awareness creation? Is there an example that you can give of someone who's done it that would sort of help them understand what can be done?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
Sorry, I think I lost your voice there, Sai.
Hi, Sai, are you able to speak?
Maybe you want to re-log in, Sai, if it's you're having some audio difficulties.
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay, yeah, wonderful.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
So yeah, the cost influencer is someone who just want to go and join the movement and create the awareness. So they just be in social media, create a poster, do a write up, go and take a create a story, go and take a video of someone where they can feel like they should be shown to the outer world. So those are cost influencers. For example, I can be a cost influencer for eye donation project. So what I have to do is I have to just create a poster on eye donation. I have to break all the myth of how the eye donation is being promoted over here, and I can put it in a social media, tag my friends, ask them to be a donor, go and register for being eye donation. So that's a small kind of act where you make a people to join in a movement. So
Yeah,
that's basically a cost influencer. So the content creation, we work on various projects. So all our projects, the delivery will happen through volunteer, and this volunteer will deliver the content which we prepare, right? So we
got it.
need a huge help in creating a content for our various projects. That may be a new one, or maybe the older projects where, with the help of from the feedback from the volunteers, we will be tweaking the content, in a frequent intervals. So we need a help
Sure,
in creating content for various projects. So DIY is
sure.
simple. For I will tell you a quick DIY. So we do a bird feeder activity. So
Yeah,
a volunteer just have to create make a bird feeder on their own. We'll help them how they have to do it, the steps of making the bird feeder. So they have to make 10 to 20 bird feeders on their own. Go ahead and find a park in their society. Go and put a bird feeder in the park. So it's a simple DIY activity which we started post pandemic because You can't group, you can't find people to tag along and do the volunteering. So here you can be alone and do some volunteering and make some meaningful change in the society. So that's what
Wonderful.
the DIY is. Yeah.
Wonderful.
So these
Thank you
all,
so much.
yeah.
No, thank you so much, Sai. These are very useful to understand. I know just due to the time constraints, we will have to, move to the next organization. But I think that, if anyone has any questions on this in particular, please, write to us, and you can also write to Sai if you would like, or you would write to Siam as he's here, on any questions that you have.
Like, what is the age to join volunteering? Like,
Anyone can. No, there is no age group. There is no restriction. Anyone can be one.
Correct. So for the purposes of our project, we want to make sure that we only have 9th graders onwards till the 12th grade. So if that answers your question as far as the age group is concerned. So you should be a rising 9th grader. So that means going into the 9th or already in the 9th is what we would like to see. Great. So can we go ahead now? Thanks, Sai. This was very, very helpful.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So over to our next, and maybe we can switch. If you stop sharing, we can switch to the presentation as well, Sai. So Siam or Joanne, can you all share the presentation again? Great. Thank you. So next up is Doctors for You.
Yeah. Hi.
And hi, Praswati. Lovely to have you. Please go ahead. Love to hear about your the NGO Doctors for You and the work that you're doing, and of course, what are the volunteering opportunities?
Right. So, Doctors for You is an organization which has been working since 2007. And the broad area where we work is disaster or like emergency response, as I would call it. And this organization was founded in response to like as doctors who would like to give back to the society. So anyways, like how everybody considers, doctors are doing humanitarian work, but then there are still more ways to contribute to the society. So we've been working in public health in disaster affected areas, and COVID was also one of the major areas we worked in. And apart from this, we're working in other topics as well. How can I change the slide?
Sure. So I think that we have, do you want to get the right to share? Do you have other slides, or do you want him to move to the next slide?
No, I want to move it. Yes, I want to move it.
Okay. So Siam, do you have another slide from them, or do you want to give them a co-host status so that they can share the screen?
Yes, I think it will be best if you can share your screen. I have made you the co-host, so you are free to go ahead and share. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Is the screen visible?
Yes. Please go ahead.
Okay. So as you can see, so we are working in 26 states. So I think like a lot of people can get a lot of opportunities to work in, and what we look for is the versatility in languages. So like people who know language besides Hindi, English, any regional languages, because we are doing a lot of field work. So that is really, really helpful. So I'll just go on to the different sets of activities that we do. So like Doctors for You like majorly works in like 8 areas. So first is the disaster or the emergency pandemic response. So where we have done like COVID-19 health like center we had run, then COVID-19 vaccination, like we like delivered the doses to 1 crore people, more than 1 crore now. Then we have done a lot of flood response, then earthquake response. We are working on a way to probably do a response in Ukraine right now, because I am assuming that a lot of healthcare would be required over there.
Yes,
so
we have started the
I think Siam, you're yeah, thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, so apart from this, like we are working majorly for tuberculosis also. I think everybody can understand how big of an issue is this, and because of the environmental conditions in India, that has become a huge problem. And this is actually one of the major areas that we work in. Apart from this, we are working in skill development training. Then I'll go a bit in details about all of this. Not a lot, because I don't want to take a lot of time.
Yeah, because I think that we do have, you know, a time slot thing. So maybe my suggestion would be that you go through, you know, just the bits that you can cover, and then talk about the volunteering opportunities, because I think that's where they
I'll
might
cover
want to
it
spend a
side by
little bit
side.
more time.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'll cover
great.
it side by side, like which
Great.
project can
Thank
give
you.
you what sort of opportunities.
Sure,
So
sure.
moving on, when we're talking about disaster management, so like when we have some affected area with any natural flood, so we need a lot of volunteers for ration kit distribution, a lot of awareness programs, biomedical waste management, sanitation. So like people can join the organization for very short term, because disaster is like completely unpredictable. We're also trying to make like a pre-disaster like a group where people can connect with each other, and whenever we need to respond, all of and whoever is available can come in and join wherever required. So that is one thing. Next, I would move on to the public health. So for TB programs, malnutrition and maternal and child health, and specifically mental health, a lot of people can volunteer. So the way we work in mental health, we do a lot of counseling, and we would like to educate a lot of people like how mental health is important. And previous keep speaker was also discussing about that, and we would really like to work on that. And malnutrition in India, especially for the young generation, like the like the children under 5, so they are the ones who are like majorly affected, and I think school is the area where we can start it. And I think a lot of people who I mean a lot of children, they are not going to school. So I think when we have the population from the school itself, I think we can target a bigger audience. Next, I would go on to the skill development. So here we actually do a lot of health assistant training. So people who are like just graduates, or people who have like just maybe completed their 12th grade, and they want to do, or they want to learn how to do small things. Like for example, in COVID itself, a lot of manpower was required, and people with such kind of skills were not available. So we did a lot of trainings for this and employed them in the project itself. We also try to have people who are from the low socio-economic background and train them. So like we organize like training of trainers also. So that is also where the volunteers can come in and like help us, you know, expand this project. Next, I would go on to the water, sanitation, and hygiene. So here we are doing a lot of awareness programs. So our volunteers, they can do two kinds of jobs. So one would be the preparation of the IC materials when we are talking about the awareness. So this can be done at home as well, and you don't really need to come anywhere. We can take digital sessions and discuss, and probably then release it. And for the people who would like to work on the field, they can you know, go and take those awareness sessions and educate people. Next, I would talk about the environmental sustainability. So we are working on a biomass project. So where you actually have where we are trying to you know, educate the farmers how to reduce the burning of the crops and crop residue management. And we really need people who can actually, who are from the local area itself, and maybe they are connected somewhere, so they can spread the message to a lot more people. So we have done really good work with a lot of volunteers from Punjab itself, and we would like to have people from other states as well. Now I would like to just uh, brief about it. So like when we're talking about the volunteering activities, so I say material preparation is one thing, taking awareness sessions, doing data entry, data analysis, a lot of documentation can be helped in. We can also take help for organizing events, maybe have volunteers on the field who would be able to conduct the events. So that's all from my side.
Great. Thank you so much, Prakriti. Just a quick question is also, typically, is there a time frame, for the engagement? Is it, about 3 weeks, or how much time do you think that,
So
a
for
student can sort of
pandemic,
spend?
so there's nothing like that. Whoever is available for how much ever time duration, they can join in and we can work it out. So like for IC
Fabulous.
or for posters or some things like that, that can be done completely at home. They don't need to really report to us. We can like do it over the digital
So
communication.
great. So we can sort of work together and facilitate that, and a lot of this can be done virtually as well, right? So
Yes, yes.
essentially what we're looking at is we can do this virtually also. Great. Thank you so much. And if you have any questions, students, please do put that on chat, and I think Siam, you can take them up as and when they sort of come along. Yeah. Or towards the end of this. So thank you again. And let's go to our next partner, um, Project Mumbai. So Shishir, over to you.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Dhaval, and thank you, everyone. It's really fun listening to so many interesting stories. There's so much of learning as well. So love to be a student here now and listen to all the different things that people are doing. So I'll not go into what all we've done because it's really a very long story. Having said that, I just put it very simply. There is not a space which we've not touched upon. And Project Mumbai, Mumbai is like a country to us. And Project Mumbai is like working on this huge country called Mumbai, which many of us think is only an entertainment capital, but it's a business capital, it's a chaos capital, it's an opportunity capital, it's an education capital, it's a traveling, entertainment, fun capital, and everything. And that's one city which we believe there's so much to be done. And if you get things right, then you can possibly, as you say, you can drive in Mumbai, you can drive anywhere in the world. And which is where what we try to do is look at three ways of operation. One is a bottoms-up approach involving citizens. Second is a top-down approach working with the government, different forms of government. And third is a collaborative approach, which is this what we see right now, working with different people, organizations, age groups, and interest groups. But what we try to do is try to keep it very simple. That's broadly, so environment, healthcare, governance, volunteerism is a kind of underlying or a umbrella element in each of the things that we do. To give a very simple example, and we try to do it in a very innovative way, in a simple way. Yes, we are in environment, but we are not talking about global warming. We're talking about a plastic recyclathon where we get people to donate plastic. So students who would like to be part of this movement can just start by giving away plastic which doesn't go into a landfill. So you can be a champion in your own building. I'm just linking to our activity and what you can do. We have actionable activities, which could be something happening around the corner in Bombay. If you're traveling to Mumbai around the 22nd to 24th over a weekend, we have 9 beaches, 5 mangrove locations, and 2 and 3 rivers where you can come and clean and look at how dirty they are, what you can do on a single day. What it also means is you can take pictures, selfies, and put them on your profiles, and this is what you did. So where we are coming from is trying to create opportunities, because what students want is not just an opportunity to work in different ways, but also an opportunity to show off what we've done. When I say show off, I don't mean in the negative way, but to tell others that, listen, this is what I've done. And this is where we are. In COVID, we provided meals to over 85 lakh people. But among those meals were also meals for children, where we created small biscuit packets and meal packets. But more importantly, we created a volunteer-driven platform to help as many people. And these volunteers included what we call T-champs, that's teenage champs. And this is where I would like to address that we have a very strong platform called Teenage Champions, which has no fixed criteria. It all means that you need to have the passion to do something. What you want to do is not what we'll tell you. You choose what you want. We'll facilitate that opportunity for you, and we try to help scale it up. Something very elementary what we get to do, and one of the things that we were talking about, Dhaval, is that what can I do as a teenager in an organized manner? You can be part of our various activities. I've listed 3-4 of them out here. We can move to the next slide, because these are what Project Mumbai has done. Now that's all history. What can we do together is what is really matters. About Project Mumbai, you can go onto the Project Mumbai website and read. So I don't need to talk about it right now. Let's go on to the next slide.
So Siam, you might want to just move to the next slide, please.
Thank you, Sian. So 4 or 5 things I've listed here, which are more activity driven, action driven. In the environment, we have, as we say, the plastic recyclathon, which is not mentioned here, but you can mobilize people in your community where you live, in your school where you study, to say, let's be a donor for plastic. That's one part. What I've not also mentioned here is an organ donation awareness campaign where you can talk to your parents to say, can we as a family become donors of organs? We can change lives. One person can change and save 7 other lives. We have an actionable activity round the corner later part of this month. We have something called Satrangi, which is beautifying walls. We all feel that there's an artist within us. You can do all these things, step out and paint walls and beautify your city. But what we do is in a very organized manner. The walls, permissions, everything is done by us. The paint is provided by us. The larger artwork is provided by us. You can come in and splash some color. We've done 41 railway stations of Mumbai, and we've got 150 walls of Mumbai. We have Maitri, which is the other area which I feel in an organized and a non-organized manner you can do. In an organized manner is you can be a buddy to a senior citizen who's going to be part of a help desk. You can help structure the way they move and the rosters that can be formed. Or in a simple way, volunteers, you can be part of our teenage champs and look around within the community where you live and make a list of 5 or 10 senior citizens who live there and just call them up and ask them, do you need anything? Pandemic, I think one of the speakers today spoke about mental health. We are very active in adolescent mental health. Important that each of you who can join in and work with us to say we need these younger helpers in the mental health space. And we are doing these adolescent programs in schools so that you understand what it is and you will be in a position to identify some of your friends who are going through a crisis. We have our larger aim is also, can we convert each of us into committed citizens? And that's where we have a fire safety training program, which is with the Mumbai Fire Brigade and Project Mumbai. It's a free program where you can volunteer to learn to be a fire champion. What you get in return is a certificate which can help you in your further studies. We have worked with the Mumbai University. You can get credits to your study program. You get a fire safety cap and you become a champion for fire safety. And we have, if you go on to a website, we have online opportunities and offline opportunities. And we have a third column, say, you tell us what you'd like to do. And we can, it could mean from taking care of stray dogs in your community. It can mean just put fencing, green trees in your area, looking at helping out, be a buddy to a differently abled person. All these are within the gamut of what Project Mumbai is doing. All you need to do is to register yourself as a volunteer. It's almost like coming to a mall. That's what we are. You come to a mall, you register yourself. We'll tell you what all you can do. And there's an entire carnival of volunteering opportunities that you can get.
Thank you, Shishir. So I was going to mention is that
yes.
as part of our project, we're anyways going to make sure that they complete the form, the registration form with us, and then post that we're going to link them to the activities for different organizations, so the students can choose also based on the discussions happening here. They can choose which organization that they would like to work on. And then build this kind of a project. So that's sort of the understanding that we want to give the students that are here, is that one is that they want to get an idea of how the organizations are creating the engagement, what type of programs or engagements have been done, and how can they do these moving forward. So we will be talking a bit more about the process and all of that moving forward. But this was very informational, Shishir. I think you guys are doing a fantastic job. I think all the organizations that are represented today, I've personally spoken to each one of them, and I've seen the tremendous amount of effort that they put in, and the volunteering work that goes into all of this. And I just feel this is a great platform for all the high school students to really be able to make that social impact. So thank you again, Shishir. And I would probably want to go ahead from here and ask Snigdha to take it up and talk from Miracle Foundation. Lovely to have you here as well, Snigdha.
Thank you, Dhaval. Thank you so much. I think I'll share the screen. I think I can then play.
Sure. Siam, would you want to make her the co-host?
Meet Priya. Today, she is a happy 16-year-old girl. But when Priya was 8, her father died, and her mother had no choice but to place her in an orphanage. Without money to care for her and worried about her daughter's education, it was a desperate act of selfless love. For 5 long years, Priya lived apart from her family, away from her little sister, separated from her grandmother. When Miracle Foundation met Priya, we became committed to supporting her education, health, and safety, and ensuring she would thrive until she was back home where she belonged.
त्याच्यानंतर मी इथं आल्यावर असं वाटलं आले बरं झाले घरात आई वडिलांमध्ये राहायला ते चांगलं ते म्हणजे असतात मॅडम वगैरे पण एवढे जवळचं कोण नाही ना.
Every child has the right to thrive, and every child, just like Priya, has the right to a family that loves them. Miracle Foundation is committed to a family for every child in our lifetime.
Okay, I hope that wasn't too heavy for all the kids who are not from the social sector yet. But, I do want to start telling you this, that, I was straight out of college. I studied in the UK. I was straight out of college when I joined the Miracle Foundation. I had no idea what I would do in the nonprofit sector, but I knew that I want to do something here and I'll find a way out of this. Having said that, over the years, a lot of children have reached out to us and said, you don't have a volunteering program. What if children want to get involved? How can we help? And for a very long time, that support came in terms of, oh, it's my birthday, I want to send chocolates over. Oh, it's my birthday, I want to cut a cake with the children at the orphanage. But in the last 2 years, since COVID struck us, and with help coming from all the sides, we had to figure out a way how we could streamline everything, yet make an impact for the children that we were working with, and also for the people who were trying to make that impact, be it adults like us, or be it children like you all. And that is how we come up with this. Give me 1 second. I will just share my screen. Can you all see my screen? Yeah.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. So Miracle Foundation works with children in orphanages across the country. Please know that we do not own these orphanages. Our goal is not to provide them with only education, nutrition, healthcare, and so on. But the goal here is to enable these children to return home. Now, a lot of you must be thinking that if the child is in an orphanage, he's definitely an orphan child with no parents. How and why will they go back home? Well, all of you, including the adults and the kids, will be surprised to know that 80% of the children living in Indian orphanages and about 85% children across the globe have a living parent, either a mother or a father, or a family member like a chacha chachi or a dada dadi or a nana nani who can actually take care of the child if given the right support. Poverty is the number one reason that parents have to take that tough decision of separating their children from themselves and putting them in the orphanage. When I had first met Priya, and her grandmother was the only um, support system that she and her other two siblings had, and this is what her grandmother had told me, that if somebody can just give me that support to provide them with education, rest of the things I can take care of. What I eat, I'll feed them. Where I live, I'll keep them with me. But education is the only thing which compels me to send these children to the orphanage. At least they'll be better off than me. Well, the sentiment is nothing different what your parents are thinking for you or what my parents have thought for me or have been thinking for me. When we invite you to join the Miracle Foundation Student Ambassador Program, which is a fairly new program which came up in the last 2 years thanks to COVID, is we invite you to crowdfund to support these children who are just like you. You work with our team for 3 weeks, and in that duration, not only do you get an exposure to working in the nonprofit sector, but you are developing a niche for a very specific domain of child protection and vulnerable children living in orphanages. With us, I will not say that you will only learn about social media or how to build your network and all of that, but we are encouraging you to think yourself that what is it that you can do? How can you become Miracle Foundation's ambassador in the real sense by talking about it, talking to the right people, getting the right people to support us. So, technically how this will look like, you start with us in the first week, we onboard you on the team, probably tell you a lot of things which I've already told you, introduce you to the right people in the team who will help you with things, crowdfunding, social media, or maybe it is about writing your experiences on the blog. And then we help you build your network list, how to go about doing crowdfunding, what kind of messaging to put out there, etc., etc. The last group which came to us was a group of 7 kids from a very popular school in Delhi. And initially, when they started off, obviously everybody had that thing, oh, how will we do it? We are just kids. How are we going to raise funds? And they said, we'll only raise 50,000 rupees. And they wanted to get tablets for about, I think, 11 or 12 kids, their same age. I think they were in the same grade as them in class 11. By the end of 3 weeks, these 7 kids had raised about 4 lakhs. And they enjoyed it so much that they continue to stick around with us for the rest of the year and took on odd one-off projects here and there, obviously with due consultation and discussion. But when kids come and work with us for 3 weeks, it is a 360-degree view of what can happen in a nonprofit sector, how you work with limited resources, how you can help children who are same as you, but just with different circumstances. Yeah. So if you all have any questions, you can send an email to me, or you could probably reach out to the Tni Career Counseling group. They will reach out to me. Our next round of taking on Miracle Ambassador, Student Ambassador, starts on the 1st of May, because Mother's Day is a huge thing at Miracle Foundation. And we are already onboarding kids for that next duration. Plus it's summer breaks for all of you. So just
thank you, Signa. This is so helpful, and it was wonderful to see the video. I don't think it was heavy at all. I feel it was definitely very helpful to understand, what a child feels and what they're going through, and this, the entire, system and the cycle of how you all handle it. So thank you so much. I just want to now, I know we're at 4 p.m. We started, 5 minutes late. And so I just want to take this time to now invite Ahmedabad University's 2 students. What I like about Ahmedabad University is that they have a wonderful part of their program at the undergraduate level, which they call volunteerism. It's a part of their curriculum. They have all their bachelor courses are honors courses, and they are 4 years. And I would want the 2 students. So the students that we have today, they're from the Life Sciences Integrated course, which covers the bachelor's and the master's, which they finish within 5 years. And we have a student from the second year who is Shridev Shini, and then a student from the first year, which is Manan. And I would want to invite Sridhar Shini to first come ahead and talk about her experience about volunteerism and the project that she went through.
Thank you, sir. So good afternoon, everyone. I volunteer and I work with Kabat Foundation for like around 3 years. This is like 12 weeks. So like sir mentioned, it is a part of a curriculum where we are required to volunteer for 30 hours to get a credit code that's required for our graduation. But I think for me, this was a very eye-opening one. And I got to discover myself, which I wouldn't have if I didn't get like an opportunity to volunteer. Initially, it might sound like, okay, this is something that you're doing out of compulsion. But trust me, it did start like that. But once I started getting involved and once I started realizing how I'm impacting others and what I'm getting out of it, it started growing on me. So what I'll just briefly mention about what Prabhat does. So it's for students who find it difficult to cope up with the mainstream schools. And that's not a bad thing, obviously it's not. So what we do is that we offer a different curriculum for students who are, who need a special attention on certain particular areas, be it their physical difficulties or their mental difficulties. We try to curate something which is centered for them. So it depends on each and every individual. So what I really gathered from this is that I started getting connected to the society, which I've only heard from other people say that you're a part of society, but what exactly are you a part of? You really don't understand unless and until you volunteer out, put yourself out there and understand what is happening around you, what are the different people that are there. Be it in the university or in the schools, you get to only interact with a certain crowd that you're always familiar with. But if you're like out and you want to discover more about yourself, then I think it's important that you should volunteer so that you get to meet a lot of new people. You get to understand different perspectives. You get to know different views on the certain subject and matter. I mean, I'm just talking about what I've gone through. That doesn't mean you necessarily would like agree with me, but that is what happened with me. So I'm just sharing all those details. So what I did was that we made posters, pamphlets, and booklets. So we made those. We shared that with the parents who are coming to like help them understand better as to how we can help their child and how we can go ahead with their studies and stuff like that. So research taking was the thing that I was mainly associated with, which I absolutely had fun doing. So that is pretty
Sridhar
much.
Shini, can I just cut to just asking you this, that what made you initiate this project? What was it that made you feel this was important to you?
I think I felt it was important because I had a friend who was going through, who's like physically disabled. Uh, I really didn't like the way that the school that I studied in or the people who were around her, the way that they treated her, I didn't feel right. And I didn't know the different ways in which I could help her. I felt so helpless. And it was not fair for my friend to go through all that just because she was not able to do it. And I wanted to better, in a situation when a situation like this presents itself in the future, I want to be better hand at it so that I can at least help a person. I'm not able to put that into like proper sentence because it's just an emotion that made me feel that I
Sure.
have to do it. So,
Sure.
but it was a personal experience about how I didn't like how the people were being treated and how I couldn't do anything to help them out. So that is what made me volunteer for this particular foundation.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I know we're running out of time, so I'm going to ask Manan to come in and talk, but it was really informational to have that. And you've got such a lovely campus at Ahmedabad University. I hope you're making the most of it. I know you all are there. Maybe at some point we can have you talk about that as well. But over to you, Manan, and Joanne, if you can share the application details. So if you can just share the form so that students can fill it out also. And that's something we'll be sending through an email as well. So, students can actually register for the for the project, for the social project, so we can there are certain rules and regulations on that. Something that we would want to, of course, we'll explain on the email, but we'll go through once we finish with Manan as well. So Manan, over to you.
So, good afternoon, everyone. I am Manan Rathod, and I'm a first-year student. So, as Sir mentioned, we have a compulsory volunteering course of 30 hours. So that was, I've always liked working with animals and being around animals. And as someone mentioned that how anger and passion motivated them to work for it. So that is how the anger towards the society, maybe how animals, stray animals are treated. That was what pushed me forward to work for Jeevdaya Charitable Trust. It is an animal shelter that provides medical care to stray animals, birds, and small mammals. So I have been working with them from like February, and this has been very this has been an eye opener for me, because we all know that stray animals are treated in a certain way, but then when stray dogs and cats come in for help, you understand the extent of hurt and pain that they go through, and it connects you with them on an emotional level, and you feel that you need to give out to the society when all you've been doing is being here and thinking about your own needs and your own happiness.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Manan. That was very, very helpful. And just now, students, over to the process for application. I really want to thank all the, NGO partners who came in. I want to thank Ariana for talking about what she believes in and the work that she's been able to do. And of course, Sridharshini and, Manan, thank you so much. And thank you to Ahmedabad University also. Just it's time to register. There's a registration form that Joanne's put in. This is for rising students right from grade 9 to 12. And, 2 groups from one school would be allowed. So maximum of 5 students per group and a minimum of 4. Students will be paired up, and, all applications form have to be completed by the 18th. There's so there are 3 rounds here, and, we can go through the next slide to explain that. And so we'll have 2 cohorts. There's cohort 1, which is going to have April and May, where we will be doing, these activities. We'll first make you fill out the form. That form is going to help you or help us understand you better and your needs, and see where we can put you in. And then after you do the volunteering activities, we would want you to make a presentation for it. And then based on that presentation, we'll again shortlist students to build one big project. And then again, we'll have a sort of a ceremony recognizing, all of you all who make it to that list. So as I said, round 1, fill up the registration form. We shortlist the students, make them, sort of connect them to the volunteering activities. And then round 2, go through the activities and then create a project or a presentation slide. And then round 3 is where we will talk about, Green Tomorrow and Green India as your round 3 project. So any more questions on this, you can always reach out to us. And just giving you a sense of the timeline, if we have the slide, Joanne or Siam. Do we have the last slide, which gives you the timeline? Joanne, would you want to talk about that?
No, so we don't have that slide actually.
Okay.
It's
So
all in
So that's something that you can send across to the students, which would sort of give them a sense of how the 3 rounds are going to be. So the idea is that we start off by the 25th of this month, with the induction, and then post that, take it forward, and complete the entire process by the 15th to the 20th of May. So that's for the first cohort. The second cohort starts in June, and then that finishes by July. Any other questions, please feel free to write to Joanne or Siam. Joanne, please put your email ID, and Siam, yours as well. So you all can reach out to them for any questions, and then of course complete the form, which is the primary thing for you to be able to participate in this program. Okay, wonderful to have all of you all here. Thank you very much to everyone, and we look forward to conducting this and staying in touch with each one of you all. And if there's any questions for anyone, please put it across. I know that there were some questions. Siam, do you want to go through those? Were there any questions in the
Yes,
chat
there are a
box?
few questions that we have. So
Okay, do you want to just go through
I
them?
think the first question has already been answered. Like, are 17-year-olds allowed to volunteer?
That's
for
done.
the
Okay, so
yeah,
that's a yes. Okay.
that's a yes. And the second one is, I also want to volunteer in Ukraine Health Mission. And he put out his email ID. I can share that across. And
Okay.
then the last one more question we have is, what's the criteria for shortlisting?
Okay, so I think that's been covered with the rules and the form which is there.
Yes.
So for the shortlisting, you need to be able to complete the application form, and then once we understand that, we will get in touch with the student. We'll kind of interview them, and then take it further. So I hope that answers that question clearly. Wonderful.
Yes. And
Thank you
I'm
again.
putting out
Yeah.
the registration form for your interest. So you can please fill that out so that we can connect you to whatever we can.
I think that was already sent by Joanne, right? Joanne, you've already sent the application form or the registration form?
Yes, I did, but I've resent it again so that if anyone has missed the form, please do click on the link at the chat box.
Yeah, and Joanne, you can send this across as an emailer to everyone as well, right? At a later point. So you can send an emailer to everyone, because you've got over 120 registrations. So make sure that an email is sent and keep in touch with them, because if there are any more questions, I think you can always take them and answer those questions as well. So we know that there's groups of 5 and minimum is 4 and could be maximum of 2 groups from a school. Okay, are there any? I saw 2 more comments coming there. Is there anything else? All right, so then we're good. Thank you again, everyone. Lovely to have you all, and we look forward to having those applications come in soon.
Thank you so much, everyone. We will have to end this session now. We will keep you in touch over the mail. Thank you so much for joining in.